Hello and thanks for remaining with us. This is Sunday edition of your authoritative compass on political happenings, Democracy Today. I am John Bello. There was no dull moment in the last 7 days in the political arena. The two leading political parties in Nigeria were in the news for different reasons. For the ruling All Progressive Congress APC, its much advertised midterm national convention has been shifted to another date, not in 2017, but in 2018. And for the PDP, it has been intense campaign package for its chairmanship position. Well, the convention of this APC will not hold until the first quarter of next year, but the party's much anticipated National Caucus Working Committee is expected to hold by June 2018. Will the APC hold another elective convention less than 3 months after the non-elective convention? The outcome of the planned National Executive Meeting may provide answers. The decision by APC to hold a non-elective National Convention was made public in March 24, 2016. The convention had been postponed several times in spite of the urgency of the desire to amend the party's constitution. Although no reason has been adduced for the shift in date, political watchers hold the view that the sudden shift in date may not be unconnected with funding challenges and possible implosion over widening polarization on issues among the APC top shots. As 2019 approaches, the political terrain is becoming very busy since the electoral body, the Independent Electoral Commission, announced dates for the forthcoming general elections. This, we believe, will allow for proper planning by the Commission, political parties, security agencies, candidates, and all participants. Political observers are saying that INEC did well by announcing election dates on time. What does this portend to our democracy? We shall get answers to these and more from an analyst, Phil Arogie. He is a priest actually, but he constantly analyzes current issues within the political world. As a social commentator and leader of the youths of the Pentecostal Federation of Nigeria, we will also want to know from him what are the expected roles of the youths. Welcome to Democracy, Pastor.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Now, we start this way. With the intensified party chairmanship campaign within the PDP, how do you react to the mode of the campaign movements you are seeing?
Yes, PDP haven't been in opposition for over 2 years now, a little above 2 years. They know that they have to get it right this time around. Part of the complaint that people have had against the PDP has been the issue of imposition of candidates. But what we are seeing in the last couple of weeks that has turned into months, obviously the PDP seem to be on the right track. Because at this time of the political life of our nation, we need not just an opposition party, we need an alternate and a viable opposition party. I believe that the PDP will get it right this time. I've watched the campaign move from city to city, from one campaign office to the other. And I look at the candidates. I see the likes of Olabode George. I see the likes of the former governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel. And I see the former acting national chairman, which is Secondus from Rivers. And of course, I see the man from my own state, that is High Chief Dupesi, the former chairman of that communication. All the campaigns are going on. For me, if you were to ask me to choose, I will have my preferred candidate already. But what is interesting, especially in this campaign, is that all the candidates seem to be working well. A few days ago, I watched on one of the channels, national channels, and I saw Chief Duplessis go to visit Olabode George in his campaign office.
Yes.
That happened, it hadn't happened before. By this time, people should be shooting, mudsliding and backstabbing and all the rest. So what we are seeing is completely different. So the persons who are doing this, they must be commended. And Chief Duplessis, High Chief Duplessis, who has been going from one office to the other, looking, talking to the other persons who are contesting for the same office with him, need to be highly commended. And I think PDP need to look inward. It is not just giving the office of the national chairman to anybody for any namesake. I like what the chairman of the caretaker committee said, that look, we have zoned this position to the south, but we cannot microzone it to now say it is south-south or southeast or southwest. So let the people of the south look among themselves and decide who is in a better position to project the PDP. Who is in a better position, who has that political clout, who has the media clout, the one that has the financial muscle, because you also need that, the one that has the reach across the divide of the nation, who has been there east, north, west, and south, and all the rest, that can really put the PDP on its footing. Like the former president said, he said, if the PDP misses it at the level of electing a national chairman, then they have indeed missed it.
Good luck, Jonathan.
So, yeah, good luck, Jonathan. So I commend them. I commend the position they have taken so far, and I commend all the candidates, but particularly Chief Raymond Duplessis, High Chief Raymond Duplessis, who has been moving. A few days ago, I think that was Friday or so, I watched on one of the news channels too. He visited the former governor of Katsina State, Ibrahim Shema. I think that was on Friday, 2 days ago. I visited them, and I went there 2 days ago. So it means that the man is reaching out across the nation, and PDP delegates who will be voting in that elected convention, I think that's for December 9th.
Yeah,
December 8th. December 9th. Okay, so they have to do the best and elect the person that can put the PDP on the proper footing, because the 2019 general election is barely 474 days away from today. So we don't have all the time. We don't have all the time. And if the PDP can get it right now, that will put the party in position, the APC, on its toes. Especially in your earlier intro, you have mentioned that their non-elective convention has been shifted to the first quarter of 2018. I mean, this is an election, or the convention they've been saying, oh, because Mr. President is not in the country, that's why we can't do it. Mr. President is in the country now. By the grace of God, he's hale and hardy. He can even play tennis now, and he's walking around. He's going around the world, going to United Nations General Assembly. He's gone to Niamey. He's gone to Turkey. So it's wrong. Why can't the APC do their convention?
If that has been the escape.
Yes, they should do their convention. Because they should know they are in the position of authority, position of trust that Nigerians have given to them, and we cannot be taken for granted. One governor once said that government house is not a bank. And I said, if government house is not a bank, what are you doing there? The allocation that comes to your state, where does it go to? It comes to the government house. You hold this position in trust for the people. You are the one determining how the common wealth, the common patrimony of the people are shared. So you cannot take the people for granted.
Now, what I have gotten from your submission now is that this campaign for PDP chairmanship position is being done in true spirit of comradeship.
So far, so
Now,
good.
what does that portend for our political development, not just within the PDP, but for the nation?
First and foremost, everybody will agree that campaigns, build up to campaign, general election and major election, is always usually heated up. The last one was the 2015 general election. You saw a lot of intensity, a lot of animosity, a lot of mudsliding. That election almost divided Nigeria politically, regionally and religiously. But by the wisdom of some of the political actors, like the former president who had to concede.
Yes,
Yes, before even the final result. That's what actually doused that tension. Nigerians should know that power is transient, especially those in position of authority or those who are gunning for power, that it is transient. If you're not there today, you can be there tomorrow. I give you a quick instance. I am from Edo State. In 1992, there was election, NRC and PDP. Sorry, an SDP. Chief Lucky Igbenedion contested against the current chairman of the APC now, Chief Odige Oyegu. And Odige Oyegu won. They dragged the matter even to the appeal court then. Eventually, the court gave it to him. And that democracy was truncated by Abacha after about 21 or 22 months. So, but a couple of years later, 1998, 99, Lucky contested, and he was there for 8 years. What he couldn't get, that lasted for less than 2 years, he got it for 8 years. So that's what it is. If you don't get it today, you can get it tomorrow. So there will be no need for any Nigerians to, like the former president, I don't know why I keep quoting him. He said, my election is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. Gunning for political office or any position for that matter does not worth the blood of any human being. So let's do it well. Let's take, I just believe that this campaign of the PDP chairmanship goes on smoothly, and then we'll get it done. Don't also forget that it's not only the chairmanship position that is there. There's a national vice chairman, there is a public secretary, there is a secretary, treasurer, and all the rest. So if you don't get the chairmanship, another position can be considered to you or considered to somebody in your zone. And of course, we can have our democracy properly footed.
All right. Now, you are the National Publicity Secretary of the Youth Wing of Pentecostal Federation of Nigeria, PFN. I am saying this because I am going to a question that has to do with the youths. You're also the chairman, Yowekan, that's the Youth Wing of Christian Association of Nigeria,
yes,
Edo State.
In Edo State.
In Edo State. Now we have the PFN Youth Wing. You are the leader.
In Edo State
apart
also.
From pastoring Day Spring Gospel Center.
Yes.
Now, youths have generally, most youths have been used as thugs. As a matter of fact, if they don't put them maybe in one room and do ICT business or whatever, they are there on the streets fighting their lives away. Tell us the expected roles of the youths, more so as we are approaching heated campaign period.
Yes. About a year ago, when the leaders of the Pentecostal church in Edo State called me and said they wanted me to lead the youth wing of PFN, I asked them, I'm not that for the youth, I'm over 40. Let's give that role to another person, a younger person. They said, no, we're not calling you because you're a youth. We're calling you because we want you to provide mentorship for the upcoming generation. We are not just looking for pastors in churches now. We want politically conscious youth. We want youth that will take over the business sphere. We want youth that will take over ICT from the church. That's the reason why I went there. I went there a year ago. And shortly after then, we had a biannual conference, PFN, national, in Benin. And then we had a major program. At the end of that program, the communique that was issued by all the Pentecostal fathers in this nation said Nigerians should not only register to be voters. Nigerians should indeed register to become members of political parties, so that we can, from beginning, determine the candidate. Because we leave the whole thing for politicians, and then they throw up 2 or 3 candidates. We have no choice than to choose one. But let's determine who will take that. After that program, I was now given the responsibility for National Police Secretary of the Youth Wing of PFN, and then, of course, a month ago, Yowekan. I'm giving all of this background to say that the church, the Nigerian church and the Nigerian youth are politically conscious now. What is expected of us? We do not have to just go and register to vote. We must take responsibility to provide leadership. Because if the government is failing, the only reason why the government is failing is because those who are there have not yielded to God. Because the Bible says that the government shall be upon his shoulders. So people say politics is dirty. There is no problem. Let's go there and wash it. We can't leave it for dirty people, because like I said earlier, these are the people that determines how resources are distributed. I have told people again and again that demons are no longer in church. There are no poor churchers anymore in church. They have moved into government houses and moved into House of Assembly to to influence people there to take wrong decisions that will affect people negatively and make the people weep. The Bible says when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. If you are not happy with what is happening in our nation today or in your state today, the best thing to do is to make sure that we send godly people there. And we cannot do that by following politicians and being talks to them and then using our computer to do ICT and do propaganda for them. We must actively participate. Thank God before the general election, there's going to be the process of registration. Political parties are going to have their campaigns and all the rest. The youth, the Christian youth, and of course all Nigerians youth must participate. Only a few days ago, a few weeks ago, Austria elected a 31-year-old young man as president. A couple of months back, France elected a 39-year-old. The president of, is it Prime Minister of Canada? Canada. Pierre, Prime Minister. Yes. He's 44 years old. I'm older than him. 44 years old. When I was in secondary school or primary school, I can't remember now, Paul Biya was president of Cameroon. That was about the time that the young man who is the president of France was born. Now, Cameroon is a francophone country, which means they have a direct relationship with France. Yes. So the man that is the president of France that he now submits to was not born when he became president. We can't have that in Nigeria. Nigeria is too enlightened. We can't have people who were ministers in the 70s and in the 80s still being ministers now. We're not going to go there by violence, but we're going to change them democratically with our ballot papers to ensure that we don't do what is wrong. We have to do what is right by making sure that we actively, I'm using this opportunity, this privileged opportunity, to call on all Nigerian youths, especially Nigerian Christians. Let us go there, participate from the registration of political parties to being members and executive members of political parties, and then bigging up the candidates and, of course, voting. That's what we should do. Our role should no more be carrying of snatching of ballot papers or toggery or doing egbe weja. I don't know how you interpret that in English language. Doing egbe weja for politicians. We must partake in the process from the beginning to the end.
Yes, you believe it's time for the youth. Okay, agreed.
Maybe yesterday, not just today.
All right. Don't you believe that these oldies too, we need their experiences?
The experiences we need from them is not the experience of being active. We need those to mentor people, to mentor the younger generation.
That's why they should channel the experience.
Yeah, so obviously, these political deities and political ancestors that I call them have refused to yield the ground. A couple of days ago, the Undersecretary of the United Nations, the former Minister of Environment from Nigeria, the lady there, great woman of God, great woman, said, look, Nigerians who are in the United Nations employment, who are working there, need to give way for younger generation. She requested for that.
That's Amina.
Yes, she requested for that. So you find sit-tight positioning. Most Nigerians, when they get it, they don't want to leave. I won't mention them. There were people who were ministers in 1976. 41 years after, is still holding the same position as a minister today in this nation. It doesn't work well. That doesn't speak well for our nation. You have had your share. You have had all the goods of life. Please step down, provide mentorship, because at the end, success without successor is actually failure in disguise. You are not rated by the position you occupy, or by the people who are following you. You are rated by the number of people who are following those who are following you. You need to mentor people. A worker does the work. Nigerian politicians and those in position of authority have been workers. But a leader empowers people and mentors people that does the work. So you are rated eventually by the number of those who are following those who are following you. Let them step down. Provide mentorship. Provide leadership. And let the younger generation take it. But I must defer to them that there are a few younger persons who have occupied positions of authority in this nation, but haven't done exceptionally well. They haven't done very well. We even have one or two governors who are young at heart, and they are not doing very well by the estimation of the public. But that does not mean that all the youths will not do well. The fathers who are there, you have done your best, provide mentorship. Instead of going, send your son. Instead of going, look for somebody from your constituency and sponsor them, let them go. Let's have the average age of those that will be in the National Assembly, average, 45 to 48. Those that will be at the State Assembly, average of 35 to 45. That's what it should be. So that we can begin. Somebody who cannot use the telephone, only except to make call, does not know how to operate gadgets. You can't be current in this present world now. The present life we are living has gone beyond analog. We need people who are ready. They've done well. They've helped the nation to be here. They've kept the nation for these 60-something years, or 50-something years, 57. We have not divided. Let's move on and have the younger generation come aboard.
What's the first step?
The first step is that the youths of this nation must take ownership of political parties. PDP is now gunning for their chairmanship. Let's leave the position of the chairmanship for the fathers. But there are other offices there.
Many.
Yes, there are several other offices there. The position of national chairman is just one. Younger persons can go and contest for that office. So that from the process of choosing the candidate, you'll be there to support the younger generation. That's one. Let's own the political parties. And then let's ensure that as soon as someone is 18, he's registered to vote, then we can vote. And then, of course, the next step is to ensure that whatever mistake we've seen the fathers made, we must avoid it. The errors that they have committed, we must avoid it. The wrong step they took that has led us to where we are, we mustn't take those steps. Let's correct it. And then, of course, we must work not just for the now, we must work for the upcoming generation. If our parents, my generation is not a very happy generation. My generation is the generation that we served our fathers and we're serving our children.
How do you mean?
Yes, we served our fathers. I served my father. I went to farm with him.
Yes.
When I came back from school, I didn't grow up in the city like some of you. I grew up in the village. When I came back from school, I went to farm to meet my father and I served him. Today, my father is gone. I am serving my children.
So driving them to school.
Driving them to school, doing almost everything for them. That is an unfortunate generation. And we cannot allow our children go serve their children. We must put things in proper perspective so that if the generation ahead of us didn't do it well, we must do it well so that the generation coming after us will have a sound foundation to move on.
Now let's talk about internal democracy, which even people within the PDP said it was one of the reasons why the party fell in 2015. Can you do away with that kind of problem, knowing fully well that money plays an important role in politics?
Politics in Nigeria is very expensive. And not so many Nigerians have the resources to run for political position. So what you find is that there are a few godfathers. Have you asked yourself why, for example, once you are elected a governor or the president or the chairman of a local government, you are made the leader of the party in your state or your constituency? Have you asked yourself? The only reason is so that you can be bringing the money from the treasury, using all sorts of subhead to fund the political party. And like they say, the man who pays the piper is the tone of the piper. So politics is a very expensive game in Nigeria. That's one. Again, we must realize that when you go into politics, you're not supposed to go there for what you will get. But today, if a senator or a House of Assembly, National Assembly member goes home and a calls for meeting, the people who have come for the meeting are looking for what to take home. They've not asked him, you have been representing us, you are our governor, you are this. They've not asked him what is on the table, what he has done. They are looking for what to take home. So the political ideology is not there. People do not believe in what they are doing. They believe in only what they can get physically, especially in terms of Naira and Kobo. So if all we are looking for is Naira and Kobo, then of course you cannot find internal democracy. The few persons who are the money bags running that political party will keep dictating what will happen in the party. That to a large extent affected the party. But I can assure you that for as long as we are doing politics in Nigeria, you cannot do away with what is called godfatherism. It may be refined, but a few persons, there are a few persons.
We call a mentor.
Yes, mentors that can provide leadership will be there. We will always need them from time to time because we need the experience of those who are seeing it all through, who have been there all these years, to be able to project for the next generation.
All right, before you go, you pastor the Spring Gospel Center in Benin. You are a pastor.
Yes.
Now, what are the pastors or leadership of the church doing anything to get Christians actively involved in politics?
Yes, like I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
at the end of the biannual conference of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria in Benin City in February of 2017, it was resolved that Christians in Nigeria should not just have voters card, but they should indeed become members of political parties, whether it's the APC or the PDP or the ABBA or any other political party of their choice. We can even float a new political party to ensure that we have candidates that we can support. So that if A party brings his candidate, Z party brings their candidate, and we are not happy with that candidate, we bring our own candidate, and then we can support. So much is being done. So much is being done by the church. The political awareness is clear. It was in the time past they say politics is dirty. Most pastors now know that politics is not dirty. If it's dirty, we wash it, and then we'll get it done properly. But Christians who go into politics must distinguish themselves. They must not corrupt themselves. There must be difference between a Christian, a child of God who is in politics. Just like in the days of Daniel, you should be able to excel. The spirit of excellence should be there. You should be able to show cause that, look, I have been there as a believer and I came out. Like Joseph, who said, I can't do such evil and sin against my God. If you do the same thing that they have done, you will end up like them. A few Christians have also disappointed the church, but we'll keep sending them until we get it right.
Thank you very much, man of God, for finding time to be on our program.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Pastor Phil Arogie is of the Dayspring Gospel Center. He's a mentor and leader of the youth wing of the Pentecostal Federation of Nigeria. Fellowship of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, among many other titles. We brought him here because of his active involvement in mentoring the youths. Well, it's Sunday, and it's been good having a pastor with us. I am John Bello. We hope you want to join us again tomorrow for another edition of Democracy Today.